Am I recording? Cool. Hey everybody, this is the Stuff I Heard podcast. I am your host, Joshua Peak, and we've done some interesting things here lately. I just recorded my 200th episode. That was pretty darn cool. I'm very excited about it. There was sort of a predicament that happened. You guys may have noticed in the intro, if you're listening to the audio version of this, that I have done something and I have lost my intro. I've lost it. I don't know where it's at. I'm going to have to do something different. I'm going to have to remake intro music so you guys will be like, oh, this is the cool stuff I wanted to hear. Of course, I'm putting a lot of stock in the fact that you guys want to hear this. Listen, I'm hopeful. I'm really hopeful that all of this transpires and everybody's having a good time and everybody's on board. I did put a picture of my stepdad on Instagram wearing one of the shirts, one of the Stuff I Heard shirts with that microphone in the front. And then he's been working in the yard, and he's an older gentleman who's got glasses on, and he's losing his hair, and he kind of looks like Barry Sanders in the picture. And Bernie Sanders, not Barry Sanders, different guy. One runs a football, one's running for presidency. Anyway, he kind of looks like Bernie Sanders, and I said, oh, look, Bernie Sanders. And then I was like, just kidding. It's my dad, Dan. Hi. Dr. Dan. So anyway, guys, check that out on the Stuff I Heard podcast Instagram page. Also, I put on there, if anybody wants a shirt, let me know. All I'm asking is that you take a picture, put it on there, let me know you're a fan. Make it shareable so I can share it, or I'll snap a photo of it and I'll put it on mine. If you guys have already sent me one, remind me, because I have lost track of who's got them and who's wearing them and whatnot. For those of you who've requested a shirt, I'm going to be sending them out soon. I went on Amazon and I ordered, you know how when you order some goods through Amazon once in a while, they come in one of those bags that's really hard to tear open. It's like waterproof and it's like plasticky, but it's for like when they're shipping, socks or t-shirts or something like that. It's just like in a grayish looking bag. Sometimes it's white, but it's like, get this thing open, and you end up having to find scissors, and you're thinking the whole time, God, I hope I don't cut my product inside of here. And then you cut it open and you're like, oh, there it is. Oh, and it made it. Yay. So anyway, here's the long and short of this. I found those bags on Amazon. They come in packs of 100 for a little over $10 for a pack of 100. That's not too bad for the bags. Strange thing was the white ones, the just generic looking white ones, were like 30 cents more expensive than the ones that were like a bright purple. And I'm thinking that the bright purple ones were probably not a good seller, so maybe they discounted the prices on those. So anyway, I ordered a pack of 100 of those. They should be in today. I'm going to get together requests for people that I got to mail stuff to, and I'm going to be making a order outgoing mail sometime this week. So be prepared for that. Also, if you're out and about, I'm going to be giving people shout-outs, people who've requested. So I'm going to do a list of that kind of stuff too. If you're like me, then right now you're probably wondering what's going on with this pandemic, which actually the definition of pandemic I heard today just means that there's a global outbreak of some kind of new virus. That's all it means. And I really think the media is upplaying this to the point that it's creating a hysteria amongst everybody. I've noticed that I've tried to get some things from the grocery store the last couple of days, and everybody's a little heightened with their sense of urgency. I mean, it's almost like you gotta sort of be prepared to fight someone in a way just to get toilet paper. I mean, it's kind of crazy, but everybody's a little panicked. Everybody's agitation level is up an extra notch, and everybody's a little more angry and frustrated. And I totally get it. Listen, I'm with you. I'm trying my best to be a better human. I'm trying my best to be more involved. I'm trying my best to be mindful of other people and to say thank you and to look people in the eye and tell them I appreciate what you're doing and stuff like that. And I think that's how we get a little better, is we have to learn to grow our community by our actions. And what I mean by that is, so let me give you a rundown, okay? So this morning I go to almost every grocery store in town looking for supplies. We have a grocery list of things that we buy on a regular basis. And it's not anything crazy, but it's just simple things like I needed some chicken. I needed some Ziploc bags. I needed some paper towels. I needed some toilet paper. I needed, some creamer for my coffee. Stuff like that, And so the journey began yesterday after work. I got off work kind of early. Went to Harris Teeter, our local grocery store. For a lot of people, they consider Harris Teeter our high-end grocery store. That's usually where you can find all of your weird niche stuff that you can't find in any other grocery store. Most grocery stores carry the bare minimum of brands, and there's not a lot of variety. Harris Teeter is where you can find all of the crazy cool stuff. If you're a vegan, that's where you're shopping. If your gluten allergies are acting up, that's where you go. They sell all of the weird stuff that you just can't find anywhere else. That's just for like people who are in LA. Harris Teeter here would be our version of Whole Foods. We don't have a Whole Foods here. We're just a small town, Florence, South Carolina. And so anyway, I went to Harris Teeter first because I thought, let's go to the high-end grocery store. I'm pretty sure Walmart is like Thunderdome right now. People are probably, with salamis in the aisles, smacking at each other, trying to get the last roll of anything. I had been there twice this week, and had been almost all the shelves were empty on everything I needed to buy. So I was like, all right, let's go to Harris Teeter. Went there. I was able to get maybe 5 or 6 of the items I was looking for, and that was it. I was looking for chicken, and I went to the guy at the counter, and I said, hey, you guys getting any chicken in anytime soon? And he's like, well, we get a truck tomorrow. Not sure what time, but it'll be here tomorrow. And I was like, okay. I mean, luckily, we're the kind of family that we have bought ahead, and we're trying to, be prepared for anything. I mean, we live where there's hurricanes, so you kind of know when you live where there's hurricanes, I need a deep freezer, and I need to keep some stuff out there just in case something happens. And if you become an adult anywhere, that should be your mentality all the time, whether it's hurricanes or power outages or tornadoes, or if you live up north where you can run into some, ice storms where you lose power for a while. This is the kind of stuff you need to think about as an adult. Hey, let me make sure I have enough supplies just in case things go a little wonky. And we're all getting a taste of that right now throughout the nation. And I think that's the big scare, is the fact that the entire nation right now is suddenly going, oh crap, my stores are empty. And if you live in a town with one grocery store, you have more of a sense of urgency because it is, oh crap, what do we do? And especially if you don't plan ahead. You're literally in the store every day going, so when's it coming in? When's it coming in? When's it coming in? And a lot of the store owners don't know. That's the freaky part, is when you don't know. Luckily, I work for a place that's a food distributor, and, if I needed some food, I'm sure I could be like, hey, I need to buy some blah, 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 and they'd be like, okay. We have a purchasing plan at our plant. But that's upon availability, if we have the product, or if you're there during the time whenever they do it. And, there's only certain times you can do that kind of stuff. And it's all about availability and all that fun stuff. So anyway, I'm making my short story long. Sorry. You guys are like, come on, get on with it. Okay, so here's the story. I go there. There's not everything I need. Me and this guy almost get into a shouting match because he was being very rude to a lot of people. And I almost ran into him several times just because he was running through the store like a frantic, paranoid, whatever you want to call it. I had some words for him. And so, I wasn't ugly. We just had some words. I'll leave it at that. Got my stuff, got out of there. I thought, okay, let me try and go by Sam's and just see what's there. Because I know, I've been there on Saturday morning. That place is just packed every Saturday morning. So I'm like, yeah. Let me go there now and just see what they have. So, went to Sam's. Didn't have anything. Nothing. Nothing that I needed. Walked through the section that normally has paper goods, and it's just empty racks. You can see the back of the store, which is really creepy. You don't normally see the back of the store. But you can see the concrete blocks at the back of the store. And I was like, okay. Where the pallets are, all the pallets are empty. Where the food normally is in the meat case, all they really had was some really expensive steak. And I was like, no, I'm good, thanks. So I left there, empty-handed, came home, and I thought, well, I'll get up tomorrow and I'll go out and I'll forage. I'll look for more stuff. We have a lot of grocery stores in this town. Surely somebody's got an order. So came home, had a night of it. This morning I got up about 7 a.m. and I thought, all right, let's give everybody time to get to work because everybody's changed their store hours now. On everybody's door it says we don't open now until 8 o'clock or 7:30 or whatever. I thought, now let me just have some coffee, let me chill, try and bring my center of my universe back to a constant Zen mode, you know, you know, that kind of thing. Of course, it's hard to do when you have coffee in your mouth, but you get the point. Found my center, found my Zen, and I thought, all right, let's go out and let's find us some stuff. Long list. My list had gotten longer, even though I had bought some things on the list. We suddenly start looking around and going, oh, if we find this, let's get it if we can. It's like, okay. So I go out and about and I forage. And I try places I haven't been yet. I go to the local gas station and get some gas because gas is really cheap. Man, it's the time I get gas about once every 2 weeks on a regular basis, and it's enough to last. So I go fill up. I go into the local Walmart because I thought it's Saturday morning, maybe they got some stuff. We'll go see. I was able to get most of the stuff on my list from our local Walmart, which is amazing. I was like, cool. I'm not so paranoid anymore, but I would like to get some things like toilet paper. That would be very handy to have. So I left there, and the Sam's has changed their time to where they're not opening up to the public until 10. You have to be like a Sam's Plus member now, which is like a bunch of money extra. Forget that. But the line started, this was about 9 o'clock. The line started from the door and wrapped around the building, around the corner, which is a long way for our store. And they still had to wait for an hour to get in the door. And I was like, what do they know that I don't know? Or are they just hopeful? Is this a line of hope? Is this socialism? Is this what we're looking at? So I leave there and I go across town or around the corner, go to a local Food Lion and I check out their stuff. And, you know, these are all grocery stores. If you guys don't live here, I'm just blurting these names out. Go to a local Food Lion. I was able to grab 3 or 4 items that I couldn't find anywhere else. Some coffee creamer and stuff like that. And I thought, okay, well, that didn't work out great. Let's go to Harris Teeter and check it out. I'm looking for toilet paper and can't find any. So at that Food Lion, though, there was a generic Food Lion toilet paper. The little 4-pack. There was like, I don't know, maybe 8 packs on the shelf. And I was like, ooh, toilet paper. But my first thought was, hang on, do I really need toilet paper? Like, I got thinking about my inventory at the house, and I'm thinking, I don't really need this right now. It would make me feel better to know I have some extra backup. But I think I got enough to last me for a couple of weeks just if things go crazy. But I thought it'd be better to have, like, I like to have enough to give away if I need to. Like if we have, you know, like one of our kids or family or a mother or whatever, you know, a local friend that needs help. Hey, we got some extra. Here you go. This will help you get through. I like to be in that position to help people if I can. You know what I mean? So anyway, I'm looking at it and immediately my eyes recognize people from directly in front of me and in my peripheral that rush up to it. And they're some of them are elderly. They're like, oh my God, we found some. And they're just frantic. And I was like, let them have it. Don't even jump in there. And I stood back and I watched. And they frantically grabbed them out and they negotiated with each other about who needed it more and that kind of thing. And a young mother walked up and she needed some. And they couldn't reach it. And I'm not that much taller, but I'm 5'8", but I could reach it. And I reached it and I pulled it down for them. Oh my God, thank you so much. And then the shelf was empty. And I felt like, okay, I did a good deed today. I mean, not that I need a pat on the back or anything, but here was a moment where I was there first. I could have grabbed one or all of them. There was no sign saying limit. Even though there were other stores, like every store I went into after that was empty, there was signs that says limit 2 or limit 1. There wasn't one at this one. But these people, because I took a step back and I was like, you guys go ahead, you know, whatever, just go ahead. Because I took a step back, they were able to get what they needed and they could take care of their families. And it's weird that we have to put signs that say limit 1 or limit 2 on it. But there's people literally that are loading up their buggies with everything available. And it's like, why? Why are you doing that? I mean, okay, I get the fact, like, if you live in an area where maybe you have, grandmother, grandfather, aunt or uncle or whatever, is incapable of getting out of the house, and you're like, I'm going to get supplies for me and for them. And you get 2 of something. Okay, I get the 2 part. But if you're at Sam's, you've seen how Sam's sells quantities. Why would you get like 20 or 30 of these things? I mean, seriously. Unless you're planning on reselling it like a jerk. I mean, I don't get it. But anyway, so I left there, went across town, went to, let's see, from the Food Line, I went to the Harris Teeter, walked in there, walked out of there with nothing in my buggy because they didn't have anything I needed. Paper goods aisle empty completely. I thought about getting some beer, went by the beer aisle. For some reason, our local Chris Giannis distributor does not like to sell Leinenkugel Summer Shandy, even though they sell it in the store. I bought 4 12-packs in there a couple weeks ago because they just rolled out with it, and I was like, yay, beer. So I grabbed some. It was on sale, $5 off 12-pack. I was like, heck yeah. I grabbed some. I even put it on my Instagram. Hey, by the way, I'm grabbing the last 4. You guys want to fill the shelf? 4 12-packs is only 2 cases worth. Okay, just for you guys that don't know the math on that. I've been in there several times and they still haven't filled the shelf. That was 2 weeks ago. They weren't full today. There's nothing in there. They're just like, yeah, well, that's all we ordered. Sorry. I looked for that stuff at every grocery store I went in. They didn't have any. I found a couple of 6-packs here and there, but no 12-packs. They just don't care. Don't care. That's a whole nother rant. I got a whole nother rant about beer companies and their bullshit about they only put up their brand Coors, Bud Light, Budweiser, Michelob Ultra, Miller Lite. If you notice, there's always like 1,000 of those in the store, and then everything else is empty. And nobody's buying that crap. I mean, really. So, that's another rant for another day. But I went around to grocery stores. I went around to another IGA. I went to another Food Lion, looking for the same stuff, looking for paper goods, looking for beer, looking for, this and that. Nah, didn't find it. Did the whole round. And then I thought, well, it's about 10:30 now. Let's go check out Sam's. Walked into Sam's. I noticed everybody's buggy has got toilet paper and paper towels in it. And I was like, hey, that's a good sign. I hope they have some more. I made a beeline over there. And as I'm making my beeline, suddenly I look over. All the meat cases are full. And I'm like, whoa, the meat cases are full. Cool. I didn't need any at that point because I'd gotten some in another store. But I walked by there and I walked over and there's pallets and pallets and pallets of paper towels and toilet paper. And I grabbed one. It had a sign up, limit 1. Cool. I only needed 1. I just needed 1 as a backup. Needed 1 to help out people. I grabbed 1. I thought about it. I thought, let me take a picture and put it on social media. Let me put it on Facebook. Maybe somebody can see it and go, good, I've been looking for this. Thank you. They can take that and run with it. And so I did that. I snapped a picture, put it on Facebook. Hey, they have this at Sam's. Come on down and get it. Every single grocery cart I saw in the store had a pack in it. So everybody was running low. Everybody had the same idea. Everybody was thinking, if this keeps getting worse, I need to have something here just in case. So anyway, I listened to a podcast. I've listened to several podcasts. You guys, if you didn't check out the episode with Ron White, my tattoo artist buddy, I highly recommend it. He doesn't go into talking about tattooing or any of the stuff that's who he is up to that point. I did like an origin story talking about his mom and his dad and growing up on a sailboat and sailing the world and all the crazy adventures that he had doing that. Very fascinating stuff. His family's from Budapest, Hungary. They are Hungarian, and it's very interesting. Very, very interesting. Makes you realize how good your life is. I think at a certain point I told him, I said, how old are you about this point? He's like, I think I was 11. And I was like, I said, to put it in perspective, at 11 years old, I found chicken nuggets. That's when chicken nuggets were invented. And I got really fat that year. That was the beginning of the Fat Josh. weird. It's a weird sliding doors perspective. But anyway, so I listened to a couple podcasts talk about the virus. And I know right now there's a lot of misinformation. If there's anybody I'm going to trust, it's a doctor. Dr. Drew is a well-known doctor. He has his own podcast. The Dr. Drew After Dark is the one I'm talking about. Episode 58 is about the coronavirus. They do live calls. He talks about the people who are in charge of this and what it actually means and what it actually is. And he dispels a lot of people's paranoia. And I highly recommend listening to it. He cuts through all the BS and he's like, listen, this is what's going on. And it's great. If you're a conspiracy theorist and you want to go crazy, there is a podcast called The King and the Sting, episode 61. The King and the Sting is Theo Von and Brendan Schaub. They're silly together. Right away, you'll know which one is Theo because he has kind of the rednecky out kind of accent. And they have on two guests, Eddie Bravo and Sam Tripoli. They host a podcast called The Tin Hat Conspiracy. And they talk a lot about conspiracies. And they have conspiracies about the coronavirus. And it's silly and it's hilarious and it's not meant to be taken seriously. But there's parts of it that are serious. There's parts of it that are good. There's parts of their conversation that make you go, I wonder if that's true. And I think that's the whole point of their podcast together, whenever they talk about things. Some of the stuff they talk about is holy crap, I can't believe this is real, but it ends up being real. So it's worth a listen. It's worth, and listen, if you have a problem with language, you're probably not going to hear it, but it's hilarious. Okay. So back to Dr. Drew. I also listened to the one before that, episode 57, called Hot Moms. He does with Christina Pajinski. They talk about her and her girlfriends go out and hang out, and she hadn't seen these friends in a long time. She has a dream about her husband, Tom Segura, having two penises, and the crazy stuff that ensues in her dream, and how disturbed she was when she woke up and she looked at her husband and she's like, I can't believe it. He's like, what? It's funny. If you guys are watching on YouTube, I took some notes. So I didn't talk about any podcasts when I had Ron with me, but because of this coronavirus and this quarantine situation, I've had a lot of time to listen to extra podcasts, and I mean, I went nuts. Just looking at my paper here, 30 podcasts I must have listened to in the last week. 30? 30 is a good estimate. A lot of it has to do with Bert Kreischer. He has a new Netflix special out right now called Hey Big Boy. It's on Netflix. It starts off strong. He's got a really strong joke about going to Starbucks and ordering some coffee. Go check it out. It's funny. Listen, there are some good Netflix comedy shows coming out. Okay, so Bert's came out this past Tuesday. Tom Segura has one coming out next Tuesday. The Tuesday after that is going to be Chris D'Elia. There's a bunch of them coming up. I'm just saying. If you're stuck inside, Tuesday's not a bad day to be at home. I mean, there's going to be some stuff to watch. Plus, I've heard everybody that has a podcast say they're going to double down on podcasts because they're like, well, not working, so might as well double down on these podcasts. My tour's been canceled or delayed or, whatever. And listen, I've been thinking the same thing. I've been thinking, my work announced to me this past Friday that they're cutting my hours back big time. So I'm a guy that normally works about 50 hours a week. Well, they're cutting that in half. So I'm going to have extra time here. Why not do more podcasts? If you guys want to be on the podcast and you just happen to be in the area, you want to stop by and hang out, come on. We'll talk about the end of the world and how crazy it is. And, I think when I came home today with groceries, my wife called me and she's like, let me know when you're here and I'll come out and we'll meet you and grab the stuff and bring it in. And I was like, all right. So my grandson's here and her son's here. And so they all come outside. I'm like, welcome to the apocalypse. I got supplies. Come on, let's go. And we're bringing stuff in. But listen, hey, you got to find the humor in this or you're going to go crazy. Okay? That's the whole thing. Is you got to be able to laugh at each other, find the funny memes, and listen, don't be afraid to hang out with one another. They've said since the beginning of this thing, just don't hang out in groups of more than 50. Wash your hands, stop touching your face. He says as he scratches his nose, because I feel like I have to scratch my nose all the time. Wash your hands, don't touch your face. And honestly, you need some sunshine. You need some vitamin D. Get outside, get some sunshine. I know it's cold and flu season, especially with the wisteria in the air. I can see the purple blossoms everywhere. and the azaleas are blooming and they look beautiful, but it wrecks my sinuses so bad. But hey, everything's got a silver lining, right? You got to look at your whole situation and go, what am I supposed to be doing? Have I been holding myself back from my full potential because I've been waiting for something? I've been waiting for my opportunity to do ... Here's your opportunity. Jump at it. What are you waiting for? We all have a tendency to give ourselves excuses. You don't have an excuse right now. If you wanted to create something, here's your chance. If you want to be a part of something, here's your chance. If you want to collaborate, here's your chance. You got time. Do it. Make something happen for you. Don't wait for that thing to come around the corner. Make it happen. Okay? So listen, here's just some rundown of some really good podcasts. If you're looking for some lighthearted stuff that has to do with Bert Kreischer, The Fighter and the Kid, episode 541, excuse me. Bert's on there. He's a guest. They're hilarious together. You guys have heard me talk about it. It's Brendan Schaub and Brian Callen. He talks about how he met Tom Segura, how they were friends coming up, and some of their challenges that they have for one another. How he's had a friendship with Bill Burr, Joe Rogan, Dane Cook. How they all support one another. And I think that's the important part, is the supporting one another. And that's what I'm trying to do here, guys. Then episode 542 of the same Fighter and the Kid, Big Brown's birthday. Big Brown is sort of a nickname for Brandon Schaub. He also has a nickname called Thick Boy. He actually came up with a line of clothes called Thick Boy, which is pretty cool. It's thick with 3 C's. No K. Thick Boy. Very cool idea. It's his birthday. They have a little birthday bash, have a few drinks, act silly. It's funny. Two bears, one cave. Bert talks about how one of his jokes that was advertised for the special ended up becoming a meme. And he was like, the thing about having sex, if she's facing you, then you could get sick, but if she's facing the wall, you're safe. That's a joke that he worked on 18 months ago. I've heard him tell it at shows over the past 2 years, and he recorded this 5 months ago, and now it's a meme. So a lot of people want to be like, Bert, you just jumped on the bandwagon. No, he thought of it first. He actually performed it on stage. He's been workshopping it, fine-tuning it. Go watch the special. Hey, big boy. Your Mom's House with Tom Segura and Christina Brzezinski, episode 543, Bert Kreischer. Same kind of stuff. Then I went down a time suck. Time suck is with Dan Cummins. Dan Cummins, I've talked about. Cummins, Cummins, Dan Cummins, time suck. He's a comedian and a historian of a sense. He has a team of people that helps him do research, and he rattles off all this crazy stuff about things that are real, things that are factual. But then he throws in some jokes too. He goes on tangents. He talks really fast. He incorporates a lot of information. His podcasts are about 3 hours long. It's a lot of information. I listened to episode 182, the Nation of Yahweh cult. Yahweh. Yahwey. It was terrifying. Terrifying. I couldn't believe it was real. He talks about how in the beginning, of the United States, the segregation, the fact that a lot of black people were murdered, and then at a certain point it tilted the scales to the point that a lot of blacks got together and they started forming groups that then retaliated. And this guy was a psychopath. This guy really took it to the extreme, way past where it should be. And I don't want to spoil it. You got to listen to it. It's crazy. This guy started a bunch of cults. The cults always turned into him sleeping with everyone's wife and then eventually with everyone's kid. Really creepy guy. Really awful guy. But anyway, he does a good job of this. There were times in it I wanted to turn it off just because it was so depressing to listen to. But it's worth a listen. It's worth the knowledge, I guess I should say. And then just yesterday I listened to episode 170 the Nazi search for the Holy Grail. He talks about the history of Adolf Hitler and Heimlich. What's his name? Heimlich, general, whatever. His top general. This guy was crazy for the Holy Grail. They were crazy for all these, things that could prolong their life. They believed in some weird subculture of people that were, supposed to be descendants from gods, which descended from Atlantis, and it's nuts. And he doesn't hesitate on calling all of these nutbags out, which is great. But he tells you the history of all this stuff, and it is wackadoodle. Wackadoodle. Anyway, I'm always fascinated by that kind of stuff. I'm like, who buys into this kind of stuff? And I guess you can easily, if you have a situation where you can sell people on it. And if you've been through some hardship, you're like, hey, listen, I know the way. And you're like, really? What is the way? And some people are very charismatic. So anyway, I listened to a bunch of Self-Helpless. I started off with 143. The episode was about touch. This lady, Ashley Belluz, Belluz, is a hands-on yoga teacher who teaches about touch in something she calls philosophy. I don't know. It sounds a little granola, little out there, but there is the idea that when you're a kid, your main thing is pick me up, pick me up, pick me up, and everybody wants to pick you up because you're cute and adorable and whatnot. And then when you're a teenager, you're like, leave me alone, don't touch me, stop touching me. And then as you get to be an older person, there is a point in your life where you're like, it's been a long time since anyone even touched my hand or rubbed my shoulder or gave me a hug. And this feelsology thing is more about doing yoga, but then also having someone just, touch you on the shoulder or something. Just simple thing as touch. I had a conversation about this with somebody a long time ago where she was saying, out of all your senses, your touch sense is the one that gets neglected the most, even though it's the biggest organ physically, because it's your entire body. It's the one that you neglect the most. And she's right. Then I listened to episode 143, which is about emotional labor. Didn't really get anything from that. I just glazed through it. It's one of those I kind of daydreamed while it was on. I was just like, yeah, okay, whatever. Just about, these three girls talk to each other. Episode 145, Breakthroughs. They have on Mike Vecchione. He is a stand-up comedian from New Jersey. He talks a lot about therapy and about the benefits of therapy, the benefits of working out. Talks about addiction and fighting addiction and stuff like that. Very interesting podcast. Episode 146, Dying for Sex, which is basically about a podcast called Dying for Sex with the woman who came on is Nikki Boyer. And she talks about how her best friend was in a relationship that was not real great, and she found out that she had terminal cancer. And she's like, I've got this long to live. And I'm going to live my best life, and I don't want to do it with this guy. There's things I want to do sexually that this is not the guy for me. So she leaves her husband. She goes on her sexual adventure to finish out her life. She gets on all of the websites on, Tinder and Bumble and whatever the other ones are. Hinge, I heard her say. And she just, anything she's interested in, she's like, let's do it. What do I got to lose? And when she bumped into her best friend and she was telling her about what was going on, she was like, oh, this is fascinating. And she's like, let's do a podcast and talk about it. And she talks about how they went through great lengths to record episodes. And it's only 6 episodes they recorded. I didn't do research on this. I kind of got the impression that maybe her friend has passed away. This is a very, very loving, tender, funny, and reflective podcast. This was probably my favorite podcast I listened to this week that wasn't just jokey joke stuff with Bert. This one made me kind of sad, but also hopeful and I guess in touch with my fellow man in a way. That sounds kind of weird, but it's worth a listen. Again, the podcast Self-Helpless, episode 146, and then they're doing one called Dying for Sex with Nikki Boyer. So anyway. Moving on, Good for You with Whitney Cummings. She had Bert Kreischer on. Really hilarious, really good friends, very supportive. Both of them on the top of their game, both of them working on multiple projects, both of them reflecting on. There's a show coming up called Cabins on Netflix that Bert did. Nikki was on. There's a discussion about the fact that Bert's wife Leanne walked into a conversation they were having, and she was like, "She needs to play your wife. That's the girl who needs to play your wife. She is perfect to play your wife in a show about you. This is perfect." And so they talk about that a little bit. They talk about Whitney's android. She made a robot, and they talk about that. Really fun, really lighthearted, lots of good stuff. Because I'd kind of gone down this weird tangent of checking out different people's podcasts, people kept saying, "Oh, you need to listen to History Hyenas." Chris DiStefano and something Pappas. I don't remember the guy's first name. Episode 92 was about Prohibition. Very cool, very interesting. I didn't realize all of the stuff that they had out there. Then I listened to the Birdcast. The Birdcast. New episode, 282 with Joe Coy. Joe Coy, if you guys don't know, is one of the biggest comedians out right now. He's selling out the Forum. I think he's sold out the Forum like 8 shows in a row recently. He's killing it. Filipino-American. They make fun Instagram videos because they're friends back and forth with each other talking about how great life is, and I can't believe, he's like, "I can't believe I used to sell tennis shoes outside the Forum, and now I sold it out 8 shows in a row. I used to sell tennis shoes, literally on the street, to try and make a living. And now I'm a stand-up comedian doing great." And he's like, I lived at home with my mother until I was 30 because I was such a loser. And then one day everything started working. And, it's hard not to love Joe Coy. If you guys need some inspiration, need a little pick-me-up in life, check out this episode with Joe Coy. Through a recommendation, a friend of mine mentioned Theo Vaughn. He's like, "You need to check out his podcast with Bert Kreischer." It's called This Past Weekend. Is the name of the podcast. Theo Vaughn, I get the impression, does something around South Carolina. Or maybe he's from South Carolina. He talks about drinking gin and tonics in Charleston. He's very reminiscent about Charleston. I don't know, maybe he's from Charleston. I need to do some research and figure that out. Kyle Hardy's the one that mentioned that. He's like, "Dude, you need to listen to this." He wasn't wrong. That was fun. I had it on, got off work, had a beer, had it on speaker, felt like I was hanging out with some friends. I was like, "This is funny. I like this." The Bill Burt podcast. Bill Burt podcast. Boy, this tongue. Getting to that point. The Bill Burt podcast, episode 7. Again, 2 top-level comedians joking, having a good time. Not much to talk about. It's just fun. It's a fun hang. Joe Rogan, 1444 with Duncan Trussell. If you watch it on YouTube, Joe Rogan's in a full NASA jumpsuit with glasses. He's wearing sunglasses. And then Duncan Trussell comes in a full ghillie suit wearing a gas mask. He does the whole podcast wearing the gas mask. If you listen to the audio, it sounds a little like this because he's talking through the thing. But it's funny. It is trippy. It is wild. I sent it to my friends, and my buddy Greg goes, "All right, that's just too weird for me." In a way, I'm sort of inspired by stuff like that because I'm like, how weird can we make it to where at least one of my friends is like, "All right, that's just too far out there. I can't do it." I mean, you kind of want to like out-ick each other, like you want to see something gross? Oh, yeah, check this out. And then you just want one of your friends to go, "Okay, I'm out. I guess I'm kind of that way with my friends. I try to find something that's just a little too weird for them, and I want one of them to go, "Yeah, I can't anymore. This is just too much." I like these guys. I like the conversation. I like all the weirdness. I'm into it. I'm into all of it. It's fun. Wife of the Party, episode 112. She sits down with Bert and Georgia. Georgia's their oldest daughter. They've done one before with Bert and Isla, their youngest. But this is with Georgia. And Georgia's driving now. She's 16. And so she's a little more open to talking right now. They sort of have to pull it out of her a couple times, but she gets comfortable about an hour into it, about 45 minutes into it. And but anyway, she's 16, and I've grown up listening to this family with these kids. I mean, geez, I've been listening to these guys for a good 9 years at least. And it's so interesting to hear them growing up. Yeah. What else? King and the Sting. King and the Sting is Theo Von and Brendan Schaub. Episode 61. I talked about that. The Rona with Eddie Bravo and Sam Tripoli. I just talked about that. Golly. I'm trying to make sure I covered everything. I listen to so much content. Jeez. Oh, I did watch on Disney Plus Frozen 2. Not as good as Frozen 1. Frozen 2 is... There's parts of it that are very cool, but they're making it for little girls, so there's... I think they committed to singing a certain amount of songs, which I thought was unnecessary. There's about 2 or 3 songs they could have cut out. There's literally a song in the middle of it that Kristoff starts singing, and I go, oh, look, I could go change the laundry now, because this doesn't go with the plot. It's not interesting. Don't know what they were planning here, but don't need it. But overall, it's okay. It's okay. It furthers the story along. So, whatever. It's like watching Spaceballs. Spaceballs 2, The Search for More Money. That's basically what Frozen 2 is. Then I've been watching a really, it's the wrong way to phrase it. I've been watching a bunch of things on the Nat Geo portion of Disney Plus. My wife and I watched Draining Alcatraz. Really fascinating stuff. Really fascinating. She's constantly watching National Geographic now, and I'll walk in and I'm like, what? Is this on National Geographic? Yeah. And I'm watching a bunch of stuff I don't even know the titles of. It's just really cool stuff. Anyway, okay, that's all my notes. Sorry to bore you guys with 20 minutes of me talking about Bert, but I'm a fan. I am a fan. I'm also a fan of Line and Kugel Summer Shandy, by the way, if you guys didn't know. And I'm a little pissed off at my local distributor for not putting it in the store. I did find a workaround. We have a local place in town, Mickey Finn's. I went there today. They happen to have some. So I'm set for now, but I know that the store's going to be empty soon. But I asked the guy, I said, hey, you guys have some influence. You guys talk to these guys. Is there any way you could get some 12-pack cans in here? Because the cans are convenient because they don't take up as much room in the trash can or the fridge, and they're easy to transport, take up less room in the cooler. And then when you get ready to go to a friend's house and they have a pool, they're not worried about glass, that kind of stuff. And he's like, oh yeah, we could probably do that. Just give your name and number. And I was like, see, community. It's all working out, baby. Thank you to everybody who's been supportive of the podcast for 200 plus episodes. I can't believe I'm past 200. This is crazy. I'm going to have extra time off, like I said. If you guys want to be on the podcast, let me know. We're going to figure something out. If you need something, reach out to each other. Reach out to me. We'll support each other. We'll put community on every social media we can. If you want a shirt, let me know. I'm supposed to be getting those bags in soon. I'll mail them out this week. But you got to give me your address and your size. Okay? They're cotton shirts. They're those Gillian brand shirts. They're really nice shirts. But anyway, that's it. I'm going to wrap this up. I got to make new intro music. It's probably going to be different. It is what it is, folks. We're all doing our best. That's it. Cue the cow and have fun in the apocalypse. I'm just kidding. There's no apocalypse. It's all fine, folks. America's back open. Yes? It will be soon. Go outside. Play with your kids. Mow the grass or the weeds or whatever. That's it. Cue the cow.